It's another day of Bookmas. Let's start off by going in here and watching my book-loving, curly-haired, crafty friend Rachel at her handbells rehearsal. She's right there in the middle, curly dark hair, no hat. Home, I had a wonderful afternoon of reading, relaxing, and just getting to enjoy some of the books I've had lining up. But I wanted to share with you a quote I heard this week from a booktuber named Chautona Havig, and I will link her below. She mentioned how we don't want to turn our blessings into obligation, and that is what I'm trying to remember with this busy season, and how booktube, reading in general, family time, it's all a blessing, and being careful to have the mindset of not making it into an unenjoyable obligation. Later that evening, I went with my family to see a movie called Bonhoeffer. It is named after Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and it's set in the 1930s, just before the rise of Adolf Hitler in Germany, and then into his reign, and ends 2 weeks before Hitler is overtaken out of power. While arriving at the movie theater, I'm not the biggest fan of watching all of the previews. I did take a couple of books with me, read some of this one, but if you want to hop over to a more in-depth and sort of theological and just smart look at Bonhoeffer's life, to Chautona's channel, Chautona Havig, and listen to her take on her Bonhoeffer video. Lots of good information. And just outside the movie theater was this beautiful 30-foot tall tree, hard to see from a moving vehicle, but it was gorgeous. Happy Vlogmas Day 7 now, and it's a beautiful day in central Indiana, so we took the time to get our car washed, and I decided to go ahead and drop off some books at some little free libraries while the day was nice enough to do so. Okay, really quickly, before we go to the library, I've got books in the back of my car to put in some little free libraries, and I'm really laughing right now at my son's white gloves. Okay, let's do this. So I'm taking these two, which I'm holding upside down for you because I'll tell you more about them later, and putting in 5 here at the front plus 2 I shove back behind. Hey guys, we're doing a quick run to the library. So I have finished Bookshots. I have finished The Quiet Little Woman. By the way, I love this. And I am also returning 2 of my November reads. So there's those. The next book I'm going to start is one that I saw a booktuber suggest, and I'll put who below because I don't want to say the wrong name. 2 Tickets to the Christmas Ball. I'm going to read the back for you. Let's see here. Mischievous matchmakers, 2 special tickets, 1 unlikely couple. Oh wait, I remember. It's Chautona Havig, and I'm going to mention her in yesterday's Vlogmas as well, because she went to see the same movie that I did, although we live in different towns, but she posted about it, and I went to see that same movie. We had already planned to see it as a family, but hadn't seen it yet when she put out her video, and my husband happened, without me even saying anything, to text me later and say, hey, we want to go do that tonight. I was like, yes, please. Okay, back to this book. 2 Tickets to the Christmas Ball. In a sleepy, snow-covered city, Cora Crowder is busy preparing for the holiday season. She searches for a perfect gift. A fortuitous trip to Werner, and Wisboterdad's, a most unusual bookshop, leads to an unexpected encounter with co-worker Simon Derrick. Even though the next book is not a Newbery book, I want to read that series. So, okay. Oh, that reminds me. I need to add the Hatchet series to my list of series I'm in the middle of, because there is an upcoming year-long challenge for 2025 that is reading through series. So I'm actually going to turn my whole phone off so that I can hop over to my notes app and add that in, because Mama don't remember stuff, okay? All right. I'll see you at the library. And the surprise discovery of a ticket for a truly one-of-a-kind Christmas ball. I'm going to stop there, but it's just got all the sweet cozy vibes with the romance thrown in. So I'm excited to read it, excited to see what other people in the booktube community are saying. Again, I'm here because I love books, but I would be reading books without booktube. So I'm actually a booktube because I like the interaction and the discussion. So I'm not running out and reading every new release. When it does come along with the opportunity to read the same book as somebody, I absolutely love that. So let's get to the library. Oh, why am I going to the library today? There's a book that I had on hold that is my next book. If you're following along with my Newbery reads, I read a Newbery book called Hatchet, and it is the first book in a series. So I want to read the next book in that series. Definitely putting The Little House in the Big Woods because I have 2 copies of it. I have 2 copies of this Spanish New Testament, so I'll put one there as well. And then, how about just a couple of variety ones? I think I'll do those because this one is pretty full, and so I don't want to overfill it. I'm done at the library, technically, sitting in the parking lot still. But I got my book, The River. That's the second one. Next, the other books are, so Hatchet was first, The River, and then Brian's Winter, Brian's Return, and Brian's Hunt. So the reason I'm going ahead and continuing the series in December is that one of my goals for 2025 is to read 5 books from the same series. So unless I were wanting to reread Hatchet and save The River plus the other books, that could have been my series, but I don't want to really limit it to that. So there's so many series out there that I've not delved into or that have 5 more books in it that I decided to go ahead and plow through The River. But I'm going to say Brian's Winter for January because I own it and I can. And usually I would say because January makes me think of winter, but we've already had a few snow days where I live. So this year, December and even back in November was already having some snow vibes. So, okay, what I want to do is I want to make sure that my 2 books I got from Little Free Libraries are things I want to keep, because if not, I'm just a couple of blocks from another Little Free Library that I could put these into, and it would just be like rotating them around town so that other people could enjoy them, and I'm totally fine with that. So let's see here. The Christmas Orphans Club, and this is by Becca Freeman, and it's from either, let's see, 2023 copyright. It's described by people who like did reviews as a much needed update to classic holiday tales. If you adore Christmas and loved Friends, the show, then you'll love this. What else might be really interesting? It says it has good dialogue that'll make you laugh. And it's everything you could want in a holiday book treat. So, we'll see. I'm not into spice, and I'm not necessarily going to Google this book, but I'm not seeing anything about it that goes off. Oh, the author of Nora Goes Off Script, which that was one of my top reads from 2024. I'm telling you, something about that book grabbed me. I just read it at the right time where I was struggling slightly with, sometimes it's just hard to be a mom, sometimes life just feels a little bit overwhelming. I didn't have any big, huge issues necessarily, but I literally cried 3 times when I read Nora Goes Off Script. So the author of that, Annabelle Monaghan, said, "Funny and wise, this totally unexpected story warmed me from the inside out." Well, as you know, if you love something that an author writes and then they read something and they love it, kind of makes you want to give it a chance. So I think this one's a keeper. However, I'm not 100% sure if I will read this year, but why don't I let you guys decide? I'll tell you what. Let me throw out a number. How about 10? if I get 10 people to comment below to read this now, I'll read this in December. If not, I may just put it on my shelf and save it for another year because, as you know, I have a bunch of books already lined up. But this one, if you want it in there, just let me know. Okay, the next one is To Marry and to Meddle by Martha Waters, and it was published 2022. After 6 seasons as a debutante, Lady Emily Turner should have been long settled into a suitable marriage, but due to her father's large debts, her only suitor is the persistent and odious owner of her father's favorite gambling house. Elsewhere, Lord Julian Belfry, the second son of a marquess, has scandalized society as an actor and owner of a theater. That makes me think of the book Fates and Traitors and how actors were defined in Abraham Lincoln's day with John Wilkes Booth and his family. When Emily's and Julian's lives intersect at a house party, Julian hatches a plan to benefit them both. With a marriage of convenience, Emily will use her society connections to promote the theater to a more respectable clientele, and Julian will take her out from under the shadow of her father's unsavory associates. But they soon realize they have very different hopes for their marriage. And as a fleeing actress, a murderous kitten, and meddlesome friends enter the fray, Emily and Julian are forced to confront the fact that their marriage of convenience may come with rather inconvenient feelings. So, chapter 1, it says it's set in Elderwyle, Wiltshire, 1817. The English countryside in early September was a glorious place. Okay, answered that. Instead of flipping through the whole book, I could have looked at the first sentence of the book, right? So I think I'm keeping those both, but whether I'm reading the Christmas one this month is for you all to decide. I do have more books in the back, so I think I am going to swing by one more little free library and donate some of that. And before leaving the parking lot, I got to see a few bike tricks here at the library. We are jumping right over to the next little free library, and as I opened it, I did not see this in real life, but watching back this video, when I go to the top shelf, I notice a James Patterson book that I want to look up and potentially even go back to this little free library and put a couple more books in and get that James Patterson book. Really quickly, I dropped one of my books into that little free library, but they didn't have anything I was interested in. It was a lot of kid books, and it was very neatly organized. It just wasn't anything that I recognized as being a Newbery or something that I would be really excited to read, so I'm going to leave that for whoever from the neighborhood may come. So I'm ending the Saturday night rereading The End of the Fury, and I guess what I had known as I read it, but it's sinking in even more, is that this is a book about loneliness and how attempting to fulfill loneliness through other people is never going to be foolproof, and that it also doesn't matter if you're rich, famous, adored by many, that you have to have something to fulfill your loneliness that's in your core. It has to be something deeper, and for me, and I think Christians would agree, that's through Jesus Christ and salvation in him. And it's interesting to read books now and then that basically the characters are proving that it's an empty world when you're looking to fulfill happiness or even greater joy through people, money, fame, a false smile, I guess. And ultimately that's what the Fury is teaching. That's not the mystery. But I guess you could say a good book teaches an emotional lesson as well. I'm gonna finish reading the rest of this chapter and just, again, now that I'm sort of more awake, I've had a really good day, I'm not as tired and sort of weighted down as I was yesterday when I finished this book. I want to read it again as a refreshed mindset and let it hit me a little bit differently. In the meantime, the next candle I'm gonna light a small red apple wreath. Cinnamon, a lot of cinnamon to it. Actually, I may wait and light this downstairs where my daughter is. You know how you get to know people and you can know them for a while and they'll make a statement and you're like, how did I not know that about you? So my 18-year-old said that she considers cinnamon to be, for her, the scent that symbolizes Christmas, that she's used to having around the house. And I'm recalling now, even as I say this, that several times during her younger years, I would buy those brooms that are scented with cinnamon really strong, and you like hang them on a door. And I did that because my husband enjoys those. I think his mom would do that some. So I guess it makes sense that my daughter associates cinnamon, but I don't. I'm not a big cinnamon fan, and I certainly don't associate it with the joy of Christmas. But I just realized with how cinnamony this is, I'll light this down where she'll enjoy it with us. Because it has apple in the name, but I smell cinnamon much stronger than I smell the apple. So that, okay, I'm glad I made that decision. I will share this. Again, I am super excited. I will probably pop on here tomorrow for the vlog and give you an update on how far I've gotten in this book, 2 Tickets to the Christmas Ball, because I am really excited to do this. Oh, and then, don't you know this is how life works? I got home after going to 3 little free libraries, and I totally forgot that I had 3 more books to donate from just the other day, where we went through my bag of Christmas books and I chose 3 books that I wasn't going to read. I forgot to put those in the car. So they are still there waiting to be donated, but I think my daughter may want to go with me and look at that same little free library that I got 2 books from. And she actually took those 2 books to see if she wanted to read them before I get to them. So if you're voting for me to read that one, do it, and I'll be getting that back from her. But we may go back to that same one and donate these other 3 books and see if she wants a book out of there. A lot of them looked more like her style, like the 2 books that I already got. So I'm just going to keep reading. I am so hugely grateful for this day that I got to relax and read some. Oh, by the way, I didn't even tell you. After doing the little free libraries, I also went grocery shopping, then came home and let the kids put the groceries away, because first of all, that helps me, and second, it lets them see what I bought so they're not asking me. So as long as they don't forget to put things, you know, in the fridge. I've actually had things put in the fridge that didn't need to be in the fridge before. Anyway, I said all that to say good night, friends. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. And when in doubt, just light a candle and relax and enjoy whatever your surroundings are. It doesn't need to be $1 million home, and it doesn't need to be a fancy plate of food. Just finding enjoyment, thankfulness, and really joy in the people that are in our lives. And if you want more friends, hop onto BookTube like I have and get to know a few people. One more thought from The Fury is the quote that it has here. That's where all creativity is born, I believe, in the desire to escape. Now, I've heard other forms of that saying before, and I definitely think that creativity and the moments of actual creation, or even the thinking about future creative outlets, what to paint, what to write, do give a sense of escapism from reality. I also hope that there's a lot of growing that happens due to those creative outlets, growing as people by sharing stories that ultimately teach and help give life lessons. So anyway, I'm excited to be finishing a couple of books here at the beginning of the month. I've got a lot more ahead of me, so let's get reading.